in like second grade, I always wanted to play with the fifth and sixth graders, and sometimes they wouldn't let me play because I was younger. But then when someone finds they believe in you, then you can pretty much do anything. But before someone believes in you, I feel you have to believe in yourself. And with that being said, that part of the movie really moved me. In summary, I've shown you three ways this film moved me, made me smile, made me laugh, and inspired me. And in conclusion, Glory Road really moved me, and regardless of if you like basketball or not, I feel like you should watch it because it doesn't just deal with basketball, it has to deal with life too. And there should be no doubt in this room that this film moved me. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have your outline? Yeah. Remember to bring that up, please. Okay. We're in the back row. Let's do it quickly. We want to get through a lot today. What'd you like?
Hi,
Claire.
I liked it. I thought that he was really fluid. It made a lot of sense. And it seems like something that was actually personal to him and really actually relevant.
Thank you. Improvement?
My name is Harrison.
Put the date on this,
It was
please.
really good. All I have to say is probably just change up your voice a little more. Just some vocal variety.
Yeah. There was a little bit of quietness to your voice, and so get some excitement going, and loudness, softness, slowness, quickness, and that'll make you more interesting. I like the movie you chose and the examples that you gave, and you followed the pattern of outline well. So you did the pattern well. I'd like to see you lose those evil notes that you're using and learn to use your memory that God gave you and rely on that. You saw that President Obama was much more effective with looking out at the audience and not reading. He looked down occasionally at his notes, but we want to speak extemporaneously and not read so much. So let's go for that next time. Thank you, Lonzo. Okay, let's get the B's up here. Next B. This guy is really tipped over. Outlines. Thank you. And we're rolling.
Hi, I'm David.
Hi, David.
I'm going to start with probably the most famous quote in movie history. That's where Jack Nicholson is sitting on the witness stand. He and Tom Cruise are going back and forth. He yells back at Tom Cruise, "You can't handle the truth." But this movie, that's what we're talking about. But, it's a lot more than just awesome movie quotes. Like for instance, other movie quotes, other great quotes are in this movie. But it's also about just the overall kind of moral versus military code, blindly following orders, kind of the Marine life versus other services. So today I want to share with you a film that really moved me. It's A Few Good Men. This movie made me laugh, made me upset, and it also gave me a lot of confidence. So I want to start with a film review quote from Sarah Bunting. She wrote in the Backstage National that this movie is actually underrated. Quote. It's also one of Tom Cruise's most likable performances. I don't know if I agree with that. When I first read that it was underrated, I definitely didn't agree with that. It won like 15 awards, Best Actor, Best Film, multiple, it just goes on and on. But what she talks about is how accurate it is, how accurately it depicts one from the military, which I didn't understand the first time I watched it. But also just courtroom life drama and military service as far as law and the JAG officer aspect of it kind of mixed in. It's a very accurate movie, so I didn't notice it the first time I watched it. So the first way I want to share with you this movie made me laugh was when Tom Cruise's character, they first introduced him, he's been in the Navy for about 9 months, just came out of law school in Harvard, and he can't tell military time, so he's told he's got to be on a plane by 0600, and he asks that AM or PM. And everybody kind of messes with them out throughout the movie about time. And it just reminds me of when I first joined, I had a really hard time kind of, deciphering military time. It's not that difficult, it's just minus 12, but it gets difficult. So I was in class, we were breaking for lunch, and I had to take a different lunch period for whatever reason. So I raised my hand and asked, can I be back at 1 o'clock? And everybody started laughing at me. You mean 1300 there, sailor? And I was like, it made me feel pretty dumb. Everybody laughs, you get over it, and then once you get past it, you get military time, and it works. So that really reminded me of that. The next way I want to share it with you is, it made me upset. So there's a scene where the XO of the base comes to Jack Nicholson's character, he's the commanding officer of the colonel, because he's in the Marines. And he basically comes up with a recommendation to get the problem Marine off base, get him taken care of, give him some help, because he recognizes this issue. And the colonel basically tells him, no, even though he's right, and I outrank you. If you have a problem with that, go shove it. And this brings me back to one of my times being pretty junior, and I was in a control room, so lots of officers, high-ranking officers. I'm pretty low on the totem pole at the time, and bring up a recommendation, and this officer cuts me down right in front of everybody. Made me feel really small, kind of one of the most embarrassing moments of my career, but I got over it, mostly because I was right at the time, and it came back. But my actions didn't lead to somebody dying in this case. In the movie, somebody dies because of it, so I can't really imagine how he felt when he killed himself in the movie, so I felt pretty bad about it, but you can see why. And the last way I want to share with you is it gave me confidence. So the overall tone of the movie is, it's 1992 in the movie. I was in the military in 1992, in case you're wondering. But it deals with the topic of hazing, and when I came in, 15 years later, it was still this issue where it was, on paper, it was condemned. It was against, actual written code, but at the junior ranks, especially enlisted side, it still happened. So that process, in the movie where they held this colonel accountable overall for the actions of junior sailors, or in this case Marines, kind of showed me that the military made great steps from the 90s into the 2000s and now the 2010s to make a stop on hazing, and not only just hazing, but other issues. And that gave me confidence in the organization that I work for. So in summary, I have shown you 3 ways which this film has moved me. And so in conclusion, this movie is more than just a great quote and great dialogue. There's a lot of tones between moral code versus ethical code, and military code, and how that kind of plays into a courtroom drama. So there should be no doubt in this room that A Few Good Men really moved me. And I just want to bring you back that now that you've had a chance to hear my review, you can handle the truth.
502. Like?
Hi, I'm James.
James, what do you like?
I like how he's both connecting with this experience, and I think he uses the note card very efficiently.
Improvement?
Hi, I'm Christy.
Hi, Christy.
I really like the speech. I really like the story and how it related to your own life. But maybe next time, be a bit more fluent when speaking classes.
Okay. Great movie that you chose, and properly you chose something that related to something you had been in and could really relate to. And I like that, David. That's good. It's good choice and good audience choice. Problem is you needed to time it and you needed to edit and cut it down a great deal. You were at almost a minute and a half and still in your introduction. So, that's troublesome. See, I knew you were going to get in trouble there. The cheerful was good. It was a cute story. 1300. Yeah. So that was cute and good. Remember to say, that's why I laugh. Return to the emotion. Do felt sensing. Remember it. Remember the laugh, the embarrassment. Re-feel it. We'll feel it too. Being put down on the bridge. Yeah, re-feel it. And that's why I felt upset. Return to the emotion and say it. Same with confidence. Summary, conclusion, and tieback were all fine. It was just a little long. Speak more clearly throughout the speech. Use ums less. It makes smooth moves during your walking. How'd it go?
I think I used on this. Couldn't really tell. It's hard to tell when you're nervous. But I led with the right foot.
Yeah, you walked this way good, and this way you did well. The coming back was a little bumpy, but you did well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other B's? Okay, let's move on. You're a B? You're coming out of the woodwork. Okay, rock and roll.
Hi everyone, I'm Yang.
Hi, Young.
Listen carefully. Instruments that record, analyze, summarize, organize, debate, and explain information that are intended for the enlightenment and enhancement of the human brain. This is only part of the very long-winded definition of books, given by Rancho, one of the three main characters in the movie Three Idiots. He came up with this definition as a sarcasm to his professor's definition memorization style of teaching. So today I'm going to share with you this film that really moved me, Three Idiots. In a movie review that I read, it was mentioned that Three Idiots explored negative and questionable educational practices through the use of humor. I cannot agree more with this quote, because the movie really deals with very significant topics, and yet in a lighthearted and humorous manner. So overall, this movie made me feel connected, it taught me to treasure life, and it also inspired me. So first of all, I would like to talk about why this movie made me feel connected. Just as the scene that I showed you just now, there's quite a lot of humor and sarcasm inside this film. And when I was studying in China, actually we had quite some rote memorization to do as well. I remember once our English teacher asked us to remember an English essay word by word. And then when she called upon this guy to recite, he was totally clueless about the content of the essay. However, being good at English, he made up a fairly good story. Surprisingly, our teacher didn't even realize that he was making it up, and she even complimented him for reciting fluently. So when I was watching that film, the same kind of irony and sarcasm came back to me, so I feel really connected with the theme of the film. The second way that this movie moved me was that it taught me to treasure my life. The reason is because out of the three main characters in the film, only Rancho chose a degree because he really had the passion for engineering. The other two chose a degree only because of family and financial reasons. Thinking back of the time when I was choosing my university degree, my parents discussed with me. However, they decided to respect my own final choice. So I feel really lucky to be born in this family, and I can make my own life decisions. This is why the movie taught me to treasure my own life. And last but not least, this movie inspired me. At the end of the film, Rancho met his old college friend who always challenged him and looked down on him. So when Rancho revealed his real identity as an important client of that friend, the friend was so shocked and scared that he immediately changed his attitude towards Rancho. This reminded me of my own experience. When I was in primary school, I was actually a very short person. So there was a girl who talked to me in a joking and yet condescending way. "You're so short. What are you going to do in the future?" I didn't get her funny logic, so I didn't say a word back. However, 5 years after that, when I accidentally met her on the street, that time I had to look downwards to talk to her. So that incident made me realize when we are challenged by arrogant people, all we need to do is to remain silent and one day tell them how much better we are. This is exactly how the end of the film, Three Idiots, inspired me. So to conclude, this movie really made me feel connected because of the sarcasm. It taught me to treasure my own life, and the ending of the movie also inspired me. So there should be no doubt in this room that Three Idiots really inspired me. Just as we don't have to define a book, with such a long definition, I think I don't have to define a good movie for you here. All I can tell you is that Three Idiots is a movie worth watching. Thank you.
Thank you. 405. Yes, I agree with you. What did you like, back row?
I'm Alex.
Hi, Alex.
I like your speech a lot. I like the life lessons that you gave us after your experience. It was cute.
Thank you, Alex. Improvement.
I'm Scott.
Hi, Scott.
I thought you did really effective speech and definitely your tie-in at the end is really effective. Two things. I think first of all, you spoke a little fast. Just you could slow down a little bit. It wasn't like way too fast, but it could be a little slower. And also, I can tell that instead of looking and making eye contact, that you like to look at like the top of the. I mean, that's definitely a strategy to avoid eye contact, but it's definitely it'll make your stories more personable and make the emotional connection a lot stronger if you actually make eye contact with the audience.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a very important point. And if you do a job interview and you don't look the employer in the eyes, you're not going to get hired. They don't trust people that don't look people in the eyes. I liked your speech, Young. You started with this quote about instruments, though, and I expected some talk about more about instruments as a stress of your final closing. You know, I know you had this instruments that recorded and analyzed, and so I was waiting more for a better tie back than I got from you. Great film choice, loved it and enjoyed it myself. Educational practice through the use of humor. Connects, yes. Where is your film review? Where did you put it in here somewhere, or did you skip
the
that?
line is actually from the film.
Oh, this is up in the top. Okay, so that's how it came about. Okay, good. On your the thing about you said you connect, and you know you felt connected, and so that was good. About the guy faking the story, that was good. That was a good storytelling. On the treasure of your life is your parents give you autonomy and let you make up your own mind. That was good. I didn't get exactly how you were inspired by your third story, but it was a little vague to me, but so be it. You had a good summary, conclusion, and tie-back. You said you wanted more vocal variety, move around more, and engage the audience better. How did it go?
Well, I guess for the vocal variety, maybe I didn't achieve it because that's just the way I talk, and it's quite hard to change. And for the move around, I think I tried, but maybe it looked a bit mechanical. And for the third one, engage the audience, I think this time maybe I talked about more personal stories, so I think the audience get me better.
I think that if you take some stuff out and slow down, you can change. You weren't born with just one style of speaking. That's why we have oral communication classes, so you can practice speaking in different ways, faster, slower, lower, higher, and make it more interesting to listen to you. Thank you very much, Young. Any more bees? Okay, rock and roll. Oh, there's another bee. Where'd all these bees come from? Okay, rock and roll.
Hi everyone, my name is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, I first read the novel Pride and Prejudice written by Jane Austen in late 19th centuries when I was 12 years old. Ever since then, I've read the novel almost 6 months and even named after my company, after the major character's name, Lizzie. So today I want to share with you the same titled movie, Pride and Prejudice, released in 2005. The movie makes me feel joyful, disappointed, and sad. Why Pride and Prejudice was so enchanting and timeless? I think a review from Wall Street Journal explained it very well. Just like Shakespeare's works, Jane Austen's novel deals with some universal themes: love, money, status, and power. So these themes resonate generations from different historic times very well. So the first part, the movie makes me feel joyful. The opening scene of the movie was a beautiful countryside English home with beautiful garden and family joy. This reminds me of my grandparents' home. My grandparents' home just 1 block away from a lake. So during the summer, I have a calendar marked with activities I would do with my childhood friends, either catching fish or butterflies, or even find secret beehives. So this reminds me of carefree time, and this movie makes me feel joyful. And why this romantic movie makes me feel disappointed? The central theme of the Pride and Prejudice was that the 5 Bennet sisters didn't have the same inheritance right as their male cousin. 200 years later, we are still fighting for women equality. So this happened to me last year. Last year, my company was in a discussion with an investment company. So in the last round of the discussion, they asked me, "Are you single?" I said, "Yes. Is there any problem?" And they said, "Well, if you are single, this represents uncertainty for us. So we have the right to add 1 extra clause in the agreement to secure our interests and equity in the company." So at that very point, I feel disappointed and powerless, just like those 5 Bennet sisters 200 years ago. So after 200 years later, women are still perceived as weak, lack of judgment, and emotional. So this movie connects me at this point and makes me feel very disappointed. And last part, the movie makes me feel sad. Why? There is one thing, Elizabeth Bennet was in a discussion with her sister Jane Bennet. They were talking about family, children, and marriage. But for me, that thing makes me feel very sad because I'm an only child, so I didn't have any siblings in my life. I didn't have a sister figure. So I didn't have such feeling in my life. And my future children won't have any uncle or aunt. And most sadly, this is not my family's choice. So this movie makes me feel very sad. So in conclusion, Pride and Prejudice is a timeless and enchanting movie for us. Why? Just like the review from Wall Street Journal said, it deals with some universal themes in our lives: love, money, power, and status. So I totally agree with that. Fortunately and unfortunately, the movie still resonates to our current generation. So I hope someday we will find more hopes from the movie and more romantic feelings from the movie, but less feeling of the lack of the gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you. What do you like?
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
I really liked your storytelling. I could really feel your emotion.
Improvement.
Hey, I'm Harper.
Hi, Harper.
Hey, I think sometimes your voice was a little bit flat, just kind of moved around, and your posture was kind of closed the whole time.
Yeah. Let's work on that vocal variety and put more energy into your voice so you fill the room with excitement and energy. Well, you really love Pride and Prejudice. You've read it 20 times or something, and it really speaks to you in a very deep way. You saw the movie. Great. It's a great book. It's a great film, So good for you. You really chose something that was, close to you, and I liked that. I liked the quote from the Wall Street Journal, and your preview was fine. Joyful, disappointed, and sad. The one I thought you did the best on disappointed, and that was your good one. It was a little bit long, but them making a clause, well, you're single, well, we have to protect our interests because we don't know what's going to happen to you. It's really pretty old-fashioned these days, but it's kind of sad. And I felt your sadness on your third point, too. What you need to remember to do, Kathy, is have the 7 Roman numerals put into the typed outline so you don't forget any, because you skipped over your summary. In summary, I've told you 3 ways the film moved me: joyful, disappointed, and sad. In conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room that the film Pride and Prejudice really moved me. And then go back to watching it over and over again. Other than that, good job. Thank you. Okay, any more B's? Okay, excellent. Time for the C's. Let's hear from Edgy. Esgy. Well, this poor girl's got problems. Harrison, he also has problems. Okay, Okay, Harrison. Rock and roll, Harrison. Okay, roll.
Hi, my name is Harrison.
Hi, Harrison.
Then I saw it. I saw a mom who would die for her son. A man who would kill for his wife. A boy, angry and alone, laid out in front of him the bad path. A circle, round and round, so I decided to change it. This is a quote from one of my favorite movies called Looper with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis. I thought it was a really good movie, and it definitely moved me in a few ways. It made me feel sad, it made me feel confused, and it also made me feel nostalgic. Sarah Viz Corondo of Box Office Magazine said, "I'll bet you the writers of Star Trek wish they'd schemed up this tricky tale about the consequences of time travel." So I thought that this quote is definitely relatable, and I agree with it because this movie is very clever and tricky with all the concepts of the time travel that they use, and I thought that it was a really interesting and fun movie to watch all around. So, the first way that this film moved me is it made me feel nostalgic. Now, a kid in the movie, who's Emily Blunt's son, is about 6 years old, and he's constantly shown in the movie playing with toys, playing games with his mom, kind of just doing, what a child would do, throwing temper tantrums. And the reason why this made me feel nostalgic is because it brought me back to when I was, 6 or 5 years old, however old he is, and just being able to play with toys all day, sit on the ground, just be occupied by nearly anything. Everything is so fascinating and new. So in that way, the movie made me feel a bit nostalgic. The second way that the film made me feel, or moved me, is it made me feel confused. Now, at parts in the movie, they'd be switching between the present to the future, to the past, back to the future. It kind of got confusing what year they're in, and it kind of played with your mind a little bit. And the concepts of the time travel got really confusing, just hard to understand and kind of wrap your mind around. So it got really, really confusing, and this kind of reminded me of my calculus class this year, where I felt like if I missed one detail at all, I'd be completely lost.
Too lost.
And my teacher would just move along, and you kind of just get a bunch of confusion piling on itself. So in that way, it kind of reminded me of the movie. I felt really lost at points and just overall confused. So the final way that this film moved me is it made me feel pretty sad, actually. Bruce Willis's wife in the movie, they're shown to have a really close and loving relationship with each other for over 30 years. And there's a scene in the movie where he goes to a flashback where she's shot brutally right in front of his face by a few mafia members. And I remember his face was completely flat and kind of, emotionless. He'd been completely taken back and just in so much shock by that moment. Someone so close to him had been, taken away from him. And this kind of reminded me of when I first heard that my grandfather had passed away years ago, and I remember just feeling that kind of same flat, almost emotionless and just completely taken back by the whole situation. And it's just kind of hard to understand that someone is going to be gone, and just understanding the loss and passing of someone is just a really hard and emotional thing to overcome. So in that way, I connected with the movie and the characters in that sense. So overall, this movie definitely moved me in a few ways. It made me feel sad, it made me feel nostalgic, and it also had me confused at many moments. So there should be no doubt in anyone's mind here that the film in fact moved me. And overall, I thought this was a very clever and tricky film, as Sarah from Box Office said. I thought that it kept you on the edge of your seats at all times. It kept you, wanting to know what's going to happen next. and I thought, the time travel aspect of it was really interesting. So I thought it was a really good film that I'd recommend to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. 349, would you like?
Hi, I'm Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
I thought that you spoke really well. You had really good clarity in your eye contact.
Thank you.
Good. Improvement.
I'm Tali.
Hi, Ollie.
I thought that overall your speech was really good, but you spoke a little fast at some parts.
Thanks.
Right. You gave a quote today. I saw it. I saw a mom who would die for her son, a man who would kill for his wife, a boy angry and alone laid out in front of him. The bad path, I saw it, and the path was a circle round and round, so I changed it. Really kind of a grabber quote, dramatic. Would like to have seen more reference to that dramatic quote in your tie back, okay? And you understand how you might do it, right? So let's work on
I
the
just thought it was
tie
a bit
back.
long. Do you think it's not too long?
I think it's too long, but I think it was too long as an intro, but you still could have taken part of it and still tied back to it. So round and round we go, and I hope you'll go and see the movie. Or something. Okay. On the first way the film moved you, I thought you did well with nostalgic. On time travel, that was pretty good, and sad was very good. So the only thing was you could have slowed down. Other than that, you knew it. And try to memorize your quotes so you don't have to use your notes next time. Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have time for one more? Yeah. Anybody want to do one more? Any C want to go? No C. Okay, our work is done. By the way, remember C's, and we're going to start the persuasive speeches when we get done with the C's. So be ready, persuasive. Thank you. Be ready with your persuasive speeches.